Okay, welcome to SpeakEasy. It's November 2025. How did that happen? And it's good to see you guys here. And yeah, I've got a couple of announcements because there's been a couple of publications from College U Press recently, and I've got a stack of books here to show you. Because we all know Christmas is coming. Hey! Anyway, first of all, we've got the new SpeakEasy magazine, SpeakEasy 5, 194 pages of poetry goodness. Hooray! And it's in colour.
Crackerjack.
It's a crackerjack poetry collection. Yeah, there's all sorts of stuff. There are colour pictures as well. There we are. That's Peter telling us one of his poems. There's Katie reading her poem. So yeah, we've got some great stuff in there. Hey, George, thank you, George, the endorsement. That's great, brilliant, fantastic. So I'll be getting these dished out to everyone who's contributed over the next couple of weeks. That's fantastic. Oh, I'm glad it got to you, George. That's great. Thank you for contributing. Oh, you've got Dave's as well. Oh, yeah, you're ahead of me. Yeah, okay. Oh, the next one. This is like a shopping channel now, isn't it? Dave Simmons. Yeah, A Year in the Cathedral. 300 pages of documenting his project, the 5 years of the Carlisle and Haiku Form project, plus the year in lockdown, and he's transposed all the Cathedral Eucharist sermons into haikus, which they were pleased about. So there we are. So yeah, it's quite an interesting project. There we are. That's a weighty tome. Also back from the printers is Juliet Fossey's In Search of the Missing. It's poetry and artwork inspired by the Franklin expeditions and the lost relics when they were looking for the Northwest Passage through the Arctic in 1845, and all died horribly. Stephen?
I saw a copy a month ago, and it's beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah, it's amazing. She it's been her project this last year. She was studying an MA at the arts campus at the University of Cumbria and putting it together as part of her course. You know, as some of her illustrations, some of the spoons they had with them on the voyage, and what else? Oh, yeah, some of the other utensils. I think that's the sewing needles and things. So it's a really lovely collection, and it's also ecologically produced as well. And she tells me proudly it's completely compostable, which isn't easy to say, but it is. So there you are. That's great. And then the last one is my little pamphlet. They say I am a poet, and there's about 20 odd poems in there, mostly old poems from about 8 or 9 years ago. But I thought it was about time to put them together, so I might read one from that tonight. Oh boy! So there we are. Get your orders in now for Christmas. This one is a £5. Both David and Juliet's are both £15, and it's £12 for the SpeakEasy magazine. There we are, and they're in bookshops as well, some of them. So I'll be heading down to Bookends tomorrow to drop off some copies of and see what I can get on the shelves down there. Okay. Oh, blimey. Well, thank you all for tuning in. It's been a lovely night. Oh, Tom Spates asked me to go on the CACN Zoom this Friday morning, I think, so I might be talking about my poetry book then as well. So, and all those collections. So this is a rehearsal for that, really. So yeah, cool. All right. I've been teaching today at the uni, so I feel like I should go. Any questions? All right, we'll move on. All right. I just cobbled this together this afternoon.
What have you been teaching? Come on, tell us what have you been teaching, Phil?
We've been teaching. I've been teaching script writing to 10 students, and
oh wow,
we were looking at character today, elements of character, how to flesh out the characters, make them a little bit more real, engaging, and three-dimensional, and give them character flaws which help push the narrative along. So, yeah. And they listened, and they were there going, oh, yes, oh, well, that inspires me to do some stuff here, yes. So,
brilliant.
good. Yes. Okay, so this was a poem inspired by, well, just the digital world we seem to have strayed into in recent times, and just the way everybody seems to get angry on social media, and in every form of media it seems at the moment. It's called Don't Feed the Rage. I'm looking at you, George. Don't feed the rage. Beware the emotional vampires. They feed off your rage. Negative news stories and giving loonies a stage. In digital echo chambers, extremist views swirl, arguing about anything. Definition of what's a boy and a girl. Questionable decisions our leaders take. Regeneration plans. Contractors on the make. Wasting money, wasting choices, wasting resources, wasting voices, wasting potential, wasting votes, wasting time, wasting boats, wasting energies, wasting away, wasting tomorrow, and wasting today. There's a way to defeat the apathy. Make someone laugh. Share a smile. Here's a secret. With love, you can cut hate in half. Switch off your devices. Put the phone away. We command them. They don't control us, despite what we pay. Throw back the curtains and bask in the light. Support where you can. Step back from the fight. Don't surrender to the doom mongers, the negative parasite. Lift up your spirits, champion the good, the positive, and ultimately, what's right. And there you go. Don't feed the rage. All right. Thank you very much. Okay. Stephen, we're with you. What have you got for us?
No, Phil, can I ask a question?
Okay.
You know, you were talking about teaching and things like that, and you've read out that poem. I understand that in some schools now, they're confiscating phones.
Good.
And other electronic devices, you know, like as they go into the school, and then they only get them back when they actually leave again. What do you think? Is that a good idea?
Well, I've been teaching students. They're a bit older than school pupils. Yeah, maybe. I mean, some of the students are, how do we say, on the spectrum a little bit, and I was trying to get one of them their attention this morning, and eventually they looked up from their phone and they went, "Oh, sorry, I concentrate better when I'm looking at something else." I was like, "Oh, really? Really?"
I concentrate better when I'm ignoring you.
Yeah. I was like, "Well, two can play at that game. I will now talk to somebody else."
Yeah.
I don't know, John. I think it's a good idea to detach from our tech as often as we can, really, to retain some sanity in our lives.
And they're also trying to bring in, I don't know if they'll actually do this, but they're talking about at what age should someone get their first mobile phone. And they're trying to put it somewhere towards like 14, because there's now kids at 5, 6 have got all kinds of stuff.
Well, I got mine when I was about 70, so that could be the right age.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think we've become a little too dependent on our technology to be honest. And uh, I do worry about youngsters who can't almost literally can't let go of it. And George.
Yeah, but I agree in some ways, John, but equally I think this is a generation that live with technology. They're going to have to learn to live with technology. Therefore, the fact that they're good at it very early on, I don't think is necessarily all that bad a thing. I think in back to days when the computers first came in, and there's a little girl came into my office. She was about 2 years old, even maybe not even that. She was still on her mother's knee. She wasn't walking, and she's sitting at a screen and she's banging on a keyboard and she's watching what's coming up on the screen with no fear from that at all. I knew people when I was a child who were frightened to use a telephone because they didn't like the thought that they were speaking to someone they couldn't see and were frightened of it. And I think that there's a balance somewhere in there, but they've got to learn to live with the technology.
When we first introduced email into the workplace where I was working, we were like in an office of 3 floors, and we used to, because they were brand new, and it had all before that been paper memos and that kind of thing. So when it first came in, we used to send the email, and then we used to go to the guy we'd sent the email to, asking whether he'd received it or not. And they used to say, "Well, no, I haven't. What was in it?" He says, "Oh, I can't tell you that. You got to read it."
Well, yeah, I think George has got a point because youngsters, their whole lives, all their
Yeah.
social life, and a lot of it's on digital platforms. But I think it's an incredibly powerful thing. I mean, you can connect with anybody in the world, anywhere in the world, and there's elements of safeguarding and things that need to come in to force there as well. I think so. Yeah, I think it's a tool like so many other things, and it's just you know, with great power comes great responsibility, as Peter Parker says. So yeah, it's an interesting one. I mean, it's amazing some of the stuff that youngsters can do with technology, but I also despair at some of the handwriting that I've seen that these 21-year-olds are sort of handing in. I'm like, wow. Anyway, Steve.
I'm unmuted, I hope now, am I? Yes, I thought so. There's a vague link between what we've been talking about and this poem, which I wrote. Well, I wrote a draft a long time ago. It was a news item in the newspaper about a man who died in a New York hospital, and it was a First Nation American people we used to call Indians. And he was the last person, when he died, he was the last person to speak his language. And I thought I know languages disappear with ever increasing frequency, but the whole concept of there being one person in the world before his death who spoke that language. Of course, the language will be recorded on tapes and videos in museums and libraries everywhere, but nevertheless, it was a very strange thought that this language had died. The language was called Catawba, and I wrote this, which is called a Catawba silence. His last word, a Catawba salutation, sighed to the empty air of a hospital ward far from the winds, that final sound of a native people from a New York bed before eternal universal silence. Once the woods had been full of such voices, until a death song, first heard at the time of Columbus, smothered by a polyglot tide flowing west from the sea, hushing birch woods, drowning ghost dancers, enveloping river crossings of rhyme, reducing lullabies to breathing. Red thundercloud bid farewell to a world deaf to his waving words, his last rushing roars and ravings broken against dams of American prose, myriad sands of language, clearings of chatter, once surrounded by pipe talk, chant, lament, and smoking stories, around moving firelight, below starry nights. All those dreams and exultations, endearments and challenges, gone. Gone the way of buffalo, passenger pigeons, and wolves. Gone, lost. Lost to mumbling televisions. Gone the hunter-gatherers. Gone his words, their words, gone.
That was really powerful, that, Steve. Yeah. You've captured that finality and to imagine that it's the the last of his kind to speak those words. The passing of an era, isn't it?
Mm.
Yeah.
Isn't it interesting that you've actually written it in the very language that was probably primarily responsible for
Yes.
killing it off?
The death word.
Yeah.
Yes. I should have put a black cap on, shouldn't I, when I read it?
No, it symbolizes a lot more, doesn't it? It's your poem is about the loss of that language, but there's a lot more behind that about what else are we losing?
The whole culture and a way of life there as well.
Yeah.
Yes. Just going back to the conversation before I read that about mobile phones in schools, I've got to say that it's a complex problem, obviously, and people think about it a lot. But I think the COVID years was a lifeline, I think, to a lot of adolescents, in particular, the mobile phone, and maybe some of that reliance comes from then.
It could well be.
There was also an interesting discussion this morning when discussion turned to AI briefly, and one of them just went, "I won't use AI. I won't use it. I prefer to harness my own creativity and the creativity of my colleagues and peers and other people." I was like, good.
Yeah. Well, my view, for what it's worth, on AI is I have no desire to use it at all. But my livelihood doesn't depend upon what I write. And it might be very different for somebody whose livelihood depends upon their creative impulse and their ability to produce words. Mine doesn't. So I'm just writing for my own pleasure anyway. So there'll be no satisfaction in getting something else to write it. But it might be different if, it was a different situation.
Yeah, very true. Well, thank you very much, Stephen. We'll move on to John, because we had such a lot of chat at the beginning there. We've only got about just over 5.5 minutes to go before we have to sign back in. So,
okay, so I didn't really prepare for tonight. So I've just I have a file on my computer which is like a slush box, things that I'm working on, which might become a collection at some point. So I've dipped into that. The other thing is I have a bad memory, so I can't remember writing these. So this one is called Horizons. The far horizon approaches, shrouded in a haze of unknowing. Once it was such a fearful sight that I kept my head bowed and felt the sun upon my back. Now I shall stand tall and look across this pulsating ocean view, a tranquil surface above the depths, whose currents swirl and roar below, though gently lap upon the shore, wetting the sand between my toes. The light shifts. The sun has raced ahead to redden the sky before the darkness comes. The horizon creeps closer, and I close my eyes, hear the muffled sounds of remembrance and hope, and open wide my arms.
Mm.
Thank you very much.
That's really lovely, John. Was there a particular inspiration?
Yeah, it was about it's about I was thinking about getting older, as you do when you're getting older. And it was a little bit like, the horizon's getting closer. So your appreciation of the horizon starts to change. It's no longer that far off. It's no longer some fictitious thing. So you have to decide how you deal with it. Do you start to live in increasing fear, or do you somehow, go with the flow, embrace it, and look for the positive? So it was while I was thinking about that I wrote it.
Yeah, well, very powerful stuff as well. Cool. All right, we've got 3 minutes. Roz, is that enough time for you?
Yeah, I've got a little short thing I was writing up this afternoon, but it's fairly stupid, so that's fine for 3 minutes. It's called Trump is Suing. Trump is suing the BBC for $1 billion, which inadvertently means he's suing me and anyone else who pays the license fee. When it's badly, oh God, I can't read. When it's a badly edited edition of Panorama that's solely responsible for all this drama. They managed to make their reporting look fake by making this truly stupid mistake. So mind how you edit this poetry before people think Trump is suing me for $1 billion, which rationally is the scenario that can never be, since I don't have that kind of money. And this is Trump is suing the edit. A badly edited edition means that he is suing me for $1 billion. Anyone else solely responsible for making reporting look fake rationally have that kind of money. And that was just picking out some of the lines and putting them together. Sorry, I think it needs a bit more work somewhere down the line. Hey ho.
Yeah, no.
And I also need to learn to speak without falling over my words.
No, we'll just cut those bits out and stick it together. I can't imagine there'll be any problem with that.
No. Put it together how you like, yeah.
No, it's good. Wow. I'll just put it together to make it sound like you're suing Trump.
That's a good idea.
Well, if you leave it as unedited nonsense, say, then you could claim it was Trump's work.
But the guy that was complaining that the BBC had done it wrongly used a quote where he took different bits of the speech and edited them together to make it work better for him.
Yeah. That's the danger of editing there. Yeah. Okay, we've got less than a minute, so we might tune out. Use the same login as we used before, and we'll pick up in a second, and it'll be you, George. So this is your notice to get a poem ready to regale us with. But yeah, all right. See you in a second.
I mean, you had terrible floods down. Well, I don't mean Carlisle, Cumbria particularly, but I saw that it was terrible flooding at various times in the last few days, or whenever, and we haven't seen any of that. But then it's so variable now.
Well, there was some localized flooding in Carlisle last week, Wednesday and Thursday, and it was when
Right.
Dave Simmons was doing the book launch at Carlisle Cathedral, and I think weather put a few people off travelling that day because it was pretty torrential. and down. I think it flooded down by the viaduct.
Well, actually, I'm
near the
saying that
station.
about 7 miles. Yeah, about 7 miles from me out at Loch Winner was severe flooding a few days. Well, I can't remember how many now. It's probably about 10 days black. But I mean, there was cars drowned just about and houses flooded, but not here. But then that just shows you. I mean, you know that when you're a child, you think the weather that you have is everyone's experiencing. And then you discover sometimes that you walk out your back door and it's dry, and you walk out your front door and it's pouring with rain. It's quite a shock when you're a child trying to work out how that happens.
How was it with you, Stephen? Because you got that little beck just by you, haven't you?
Yes, after 40 odd years of living next to the River Eden and being the first house to flood in the River Eden, after leaving that, we've got a little beck in front of the house. And because it comes straight off a peat moss, it varies almost nothing between when it's lashing down and when it's been dry for weeks, which is exactly how other rivers should be controlled by what's happening in the headwaters. But people tarmac things and they build dams and all the rest of it. But yes, I've had enough of being flooded, thank you. But strangely, whether it's post-traumatic stress disorder, if it rains heavily at night, we're both wide awake.
Oh goodness, you've been trained, I guess. Right, well, we're all back. Hello, everybody. Right, George, have you got a poem for us?
Yeah,
I was
I've
going to
got
say,
something.
George, didn't you say you were going to be up this way with, was it Higham Hall? You're doing some workshop?
Yeah, I'm coming down to Higham Hall it's only, what, 10, 11 days away now because it's the 2nd of December. I'm coming down to be in a course with Kathleen Jones
Hmm.
at Higham Hall. So I'm looking forward to that. As much as then, I just thought I'd do it for a holiday and then and I thought it's quite early for snow, so I'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm
But
sure
we'll
you'll be
see how I
fine.
go on.
You'll be fine, I'm sure.
I'm looking forward to it anyway. Just thought I'd get a wee bit of a break, and I've been working and well, that thing I've been working on, Phil, is I've finally finished it. So we'll see. But anyway, this
Fantastic.
is the owl is calling, and it kind of ties back to some of the things we've been talking about earlier. I think the owl is calling. So I step into that strange half dark of street lamp, of cold and coat, of scarf and cap, holding me near to Rio. Mind wanders the vastness of imagination, stars hidden from my dwelling in these hours, where those mysteries and myths, unseen giants and bears. If spaceships and satellites exist, do gods and devils? I hear unbodied footsteps as I stomp my way, slow step of stiff knees and bent back, while in my head I run from dark hiding to dark hiding, childlike and dreaming in that bright chill. I whisper bonfires and guising, an ancient poem. You've hurt your finger, fair wee man, your pinky, dearie me. Hold my hand up to the light to see it is mine. Recall internal argument I had aged 12 as to how I knew this hand was mine, and wish I had understood how much would drift from grasp as years stole belief that knowledge came with every experience stored away. Now I realize how much of life is always beyond the reach of arms and hands, the arc of learning. I live with my ignorance and doubts. Return home, close the door on night. Tell the moon I am not afraid. Don't give a hoot whether I see the light or madness.
Ah, lovely. Lovely.
Absolutely. That was great. Fantastic.
You set the bar too high.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very good. Wow.
The moon came up in the lesson today with the students as well, so that's spooky.
Yeah. Yeah, but there's some things, I don't know why. That poem was probably the first poem I've ever learned at school to recite.
Oh,
And
wow.
I used to do that when we took a treat. You guys, but you did a turn. You gave them something. You didn't try and trick them broadly. And and the other image I always have, often in my head, is sitting one night in the living room when I was about 12, lying in front of the fire on my own, because we had a big front room and I went through to that. And I was looking at my hand and I knew it was mine. And suddenly into my head came that thought, but how do I know this hand is mine? I presume we've all been at that stage, but it's just one of those things. And then I thought, well, if I think I want to move it, I can move it. And then I thought, but that doesn't prove it's mine. It only proves that I can move it. It's good. Madness comes. So I say,
This is getting very sort of out there, George.
Are
Yeah.
you now certain that it is your hand?
not sure. I'm not. Well, I mean, as I get older, I'm less and less certain that the whole thing is my body.
It was a lovely poem.
Thank you.
Yeah, tremendous. Oh well. Speaking of madness, do we fancy a little story? All right. Well, this is for George because he's Kung Fu Penguin's #1 fan. So yeah, Kung Fu Penguin's back, everybody. Oh dear. Oh no.
I won the TV series, Phil.
Oh well, you might not after this. Yeah, well, your people can talk to my people, and we'll see what happens. This is a good time to go for a cup of tea or a bath or a sleep or something. Now, I hope you all remember what happened in the previous series of adventures, because it won't help you. All right, I'll get on with it. Kung Fu Penguin, Series 4, Episode 1. Let's see what happens, shall we? Plucky private investigator Kung Fu Penguin received a subpoena from the Governmental Oversight Department and finds himself sat before the committee in a large, plush hearing room on Capitol Hill. The detective is sat at the polished wooden desk beside the disgraced former physics professor and hit paranormal podcaster Davinia Brush and eccentric millionaire space entrepreneur Brian Piccolo. Are you with me so far? Okay. A half-dozen congressmen assemble at the row of seats above the witnesses, looking down upon them and the small audience of reporters and interested citizens. A smartly dressed fella with buck teeth leaned into the microphone. He was determined to get through the dead wood of bureaucracy and had a reputation for beavering away. My name's Timber Sheet. I'm co-chair of this here committee from the Governmental Oversight Department. Looking at government spending and allegations of intimidation of witnesses and whistleblowers and the fallout from what can only be described as the extraordinary events captured on the #1 Dr. Bobcat Investigates podcast channel. And I want to thank y'all for being here today. Gosh darn it. Can we please get the witnesses sworn in? And then I believe my co-chair has some words that she wants to share. Thank you, ma'am. One of the aides approached the panel, and Kung Fu Penguin, Dr. Davinia Brush, and Brian Piccolo in turn stood and held up their right hands, and as they did so, recited their reason for being there. And this is where we segue into the musical number, because I'm still trying to pitch it as some kind of show, but we'll see what happens. Now let's see if I can remember the tune that I wrote this afternoon. I choose to testify. I swear to tell all things I cannot deny. I raise up my hand and take the oath and look you in the eye. I choose to testify, exposing the truth, dispelling the lie. I choose to testify, cross my heart and hope to die. And then we switch to the next one. I choose to testify. I'm just a humble podcaster, granted the right to reply. Thanks to extraordinary things we witnessed, my ratings are sky high. I choose to testify, exposing the truth, dispelling the lie. I choose to testify, cross my heart and hope to die. And then the third one. I choose to testify. We run experiments. We're always asking why. Check out our reports and all of the data I'm happy to supply. I choose to testify, exposing the truth and dispelling the lie. I choose to testify, cross my heart and hope to die. I choose to testify, exposing the truth, dispelling the lie. I choose to testify, exposing the truth and dispelling the lie. Mercifully, that's the end of the musical number there. Okay, the chair recognizes Miss Annie Pauline O'Leamer. Thank you, Chairman, replied the glamorous congresswoman with the stripy black and white tail. Oh, that's the wrong voice, but never mind. We'll fix it in post. It's all right. We'll edit it, and Trump will sue us. It's fine. This committee is very interested to know how a $1 billion submarine ended up in the middle of the Utah desert. Would any of you care to shed light on the matter? It could be climate change. Kung Fu Penguin grinned. Maybe the tide went out and didn't come back. My research facility is only a quarter of a mile from where the sub was found, explained Piccolo helpfully. The Piccolo Institute for Science of the Strange is based in the desert there at Skin Crawler Ranch. We investigate all sorts of unusual and bizarre phenomena. But that's a real mystery. Congresswoman Lima nodded and glanced at Professor Brush. Professor, as well as being a successful science podcaster, you are now employed at this facility. Piss. I beg your pardon? Piss. P-I-S-S. The Piccolo Institute for Science of the Strange. Yes, I'm a team leader, purred the fair-haired young scientist. Well, we, the detective and I, and others, were on the sub exploring the depths of the Mariana Trench when there was an incident with a blue sphere of light, and we were transported back to the Institute. Excuse me, ma'am, but how is that possible? Asked Timber Sheet, somewhat stunned. We aren't sure. It seems to have been the result of some anomalous activity. No, Congresswoman Lena sighed. The Pentagon's investigatory office, the All-Domain Anomalous Notification Organization. No. Penned a report. They claimed it was a mirage. Congressman Derek Darlington. The chairman nodded to his colleague. The bear-like figure bowed his head. With all due respect, it's smoke and mirrors as far as the department are concerned. Never a straight answer. That's NASA. And thank you. retorted the private eye. Anyway, General Malaise would be the person to ask. Professor Brush suggested helpfully. There's a lot of voices going on all of a sudden. We'll keep track of it all. Are we scheduled to interview him at tomorrow's hearing? Ms. Lemur explained. The detective mused for a moment. He had an interesting retirement deal lined up before his plans were torpedoed. Yeah, sir, muttered the chairman. We're very interested in hearing, in following up his claims of the so-called criminal collective. God damn it. Are you able to tell us anything about that group? Piccolo and Brush just shook their heads, but Kung Fu Penguin nodded. He sighed. Sure. I've had a run-in with them before. They seem to be a shadowy global network that have members in key positions of power in all walks of life. They seem to think they are running the world, and who knows? Maybe they do. Well, President B.A. Boone has vowed to expose the so-called deep state, and that sounds like what you're describing. And it's what this here committee has been tasked with getting to the bottom of, especially if government funds have been siphoned off into some rogue illegal programs. I know. Claims they found no evidence of any wrongdoing. Lena reminded the room, with a somewhat arched eyebrow. In fact, their director is coming to testify in a future hearing. Well, of course they'd say that, grumbled the chairman. Doug Gannett. Oh, yeah, Chair, replied a seasoned congressman. Oh, what was this blue sphere? Your testimony speaks of it moving at incredible speeds through the water, and how it totally disabled the submarine, which is some of our most advanced technology. What's your opinion? Can't we even compete with these things? The detective and the podcaster shook their heads. No. There are stranger things in heaven and earth than you've ever imagined in your wildest dreams, Piccolo told them with a wry smile. Somebody knows more than they're telling, Kung Fu Penguin growled. Watch her videos. There's no way she faked that stuff. I even would have walked away, Hey, those videos have been validated by experts, Brush snapped angrily. I've also been questioned by experts, ma'am, reminded the chairman. He glanced to his colleague. The chair recognizes Bianca Ortega Azteca Cortez. That's B-O-A-C. She's a high flyer. Hey, yeah. Yeah, thank you, Chairman. Would you say you felt threatened at all? Not just by these jokes, but in general? Were your lives ever in danger? Well, Kung Fu Penguin's eyes narrowed, and he paused, partly for dramatic effect, and partly to get the story straight in his mind. I did die at one point. What will the testimony reveal? Does the committee have any power to enforce further investigations? Will the criminal collective find a way to cover their tracks? Is anyone going to take responsibility for the strange things that are going on? Or will those couple wriggle off the hook? Will justice prevail? Find out next time on Kung Fu Penguin. You're very patient people. Now, for those of you who's got the book, you can sing along with the theme tune. I'll quickly belt this out, and then I'll be quiet for the rest of the night, I promise. Okay, are we all ready? Do you all remember how it goes? Kung Fu Penguin, wah, Kung Fu Penguin, wah, Kung Fu Penguin, wah, Kung Fu Penguin, wah. I like the harmonies there. Wrongly put behind bars, there wasn't a whole lot to do, learned to align his chakras, and taught himself kung fu, now he fights the bad guys, cause they're not very nice, kung fu's where his strength lies, and he puts them on ice, Kung Fu Penguin, Kung Fu Penguin, Kung Fu Penguin, Kung Fu Penguin, To him it's not a matter of black and white, it's simply the difference between wrong and right. He is working day and night, always got the villains in his sights. Kung Fu Penguin, Kung Fu Penguin, Kung Fu Penguin, wah wah. Kung Fu Penguin, wah wah. Some call him cool, others say Sub-Zero, wah wah. This 3-foot feathered vigilante, wah wah. He's not like your average hero, wah wah. Don't eat caviar or drink a fine Chianti, wah wah. He's number one, he's the best, wah wah. He always puts the R's in, wah wah. You really don't want to mess, wah wah, with the Kung Fu Penguin, wah wah. Do 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 do. Kung Fu Penguin, wah wah. Kung Fu Penguin, wah wah. Kung Fu Penguin, wah wah. Kung Fu Penguin. That's the Kung Fu bit. There we are. Hooray! Thank you. And I didn't have an asthma attack. That's even better. So there we go. Right. Follow that, Steve.
Oh, how? We had a wonderful poem, and then we had some wonderful nonsense. I've no idea where to go now. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll read a little story. A little bit of flash fiction, which is called Troubles. No jokes in this. Sorry. No songs. Just troubles. Maureen held Michael on her wet shoulders as she struggled up the hill from the river. He was crying quietly and trying in vain to keep his bleeding foot from touching her blue school blouse. She had tied an ineffectual bandage made from a grubby hanky round the cut, but the blood still seeped out. Maureen knew she'd be in trouble when they got home. She always got the blame because Mikey was the baby of the family, even at 6, though he still sucked his thumb when no one was looking. They'd been told time without number not to play in the river that summer because the polio was like the plague. It struck mainly at children, and it was associated with stagnant pools where the disease somehow thrived. Who knew the truth of it? But Mikey and his big sister Maureen had ignored their mother that hot Saturday and had gone paddling to cool down. She'd been confident that they'd be safely home before Mammy was back from getting messages up the town. Then Mikey, the nuisance, while trying to catch tiddlers, had stepped on some broken glass and hopped about, howling something awful. "Oh, Jesus and Mary," she'd muttered, "sit here, Trouble, and keep your foot still while I tie it up. It hurts, Mo, and it's bleeding. Look, it's bleeding. Stop it hurting, Mo." "You are such a baby, Mikey. Keep still a minute and stop wailing. Look, the bleeding's nearly stopped. But it hurts, Mo, and I can't walk all the way home on one leg. You'll have to carry me, or you'll be in for it when Mam sees what you've done." So she set off that long slope with her sobbing brother clinging to her long copper hair. She was hot, tired, and a bit frightened when a familiar voice from behind them said, "What's going on with you two, then?" Constable Cranston had come up behind them, fishing rod in hand and his nightstick. "Come on, Maureen, let me take him, and I'll have a look at the poor wounded soldier. You've done a good job here." Michael quieted down like magic as the big man looked at his foot, tied the bandage expertly, and set him high on his shoulders. He took Maureen by the hand and chatted to them all the way home. There he ushered them into the bright kitchen where Mrs. Cranston smiled a welcome and, fussing about them, stuck a neat plaster on Michael's foot and gave them digestive biscuits. She even washed the blouse in the sink and gave Maureen a clean one, which had been her daughter's, who had died years ago. Mammy hardly told them off later when she saw that they were safe. Constable Cranston was blown up while on duty in the Ardoyne. There we are. That's changed the tune a bit, hasn't it?
Wow.
Wow. That was really
So
powerful.
tell us about writing that one, Stephen.
Oh, as so very often, there's a hint of truth about it. We did have a police sergeant nearby. My sister did have copper hair. I did cut my foot in the river, but there was no bomb. So you only take a little bit of some reality sometimes and run with the story. I suppose it was written at a time, initially written at a time when Ireland was the news, wasn't it? So I just found a long ago draft and worked at it for a few minutes.
That was really nice. I must apologise. I was moving my Zoom and I clicked on the bit where it said recording and it stopped, and then I was like, ah!
Do you know that critical line in the middle that you had, Stephen? That's
Yeah.
the bit that was missed. But we got the rest of it. We got the rest.
It's your fault.
I'm sorry. Technology. I blame technology like we did at the start. Yes.
Mm.
It was great. That was really good. And yeah, I think you're right. They say write about what you know, but a dollop of inspiration and imagination helps as well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great stuff. Okay, John, over to you. I'll try not
That's
to
very
mess
good.
up the recording.
Well, you might want to on this one, actually. So this is one that I'm kind of working on. I've been just cogitating about what we believe we are. And so this one is entitled, When Did We Become Gods? When did we become gods? It cannot have been at the start, before language and weapons, when we could not escape a lion's jaws, could not but marvel at the elephant and give it respectful precedence. When did we become gods? It could not have been when the everyday search for food occupied us completely, when surviving was not a given, when wounds festered and infections were untreatable. When did we become gods? It must have been when we discovered how to become weaponized and perfected our techniques over all animals except ourselves, and multiplied and spread across the globe. When did we become gods? Nature tamed, no longer red in tooth or claw, nothing left to fear but ourselves. Split into our tribal groups of belonging, a defense of territory, real or imagined, inbred, imperfect gods, but gods nonetheless. Now we have been gods longer than memory, and cannot imagine a time when we were not. So sorry about
Stop
that.
talking about Phil now. He's come back.
So sorry about that poem, Phil.
Sorry.
I didn't expect it to have that effect.
Yeah, just my internet went out for some reason. So
No, I was just saying mine's been unstable, Phil, so I might not be able to stay beyond this round because it keeps popping away occasionally. But it's very brief. Mine seems to go and come back in seconds.
Yeah.
Well,
It might be the weather.
The recording stopped as well, so I had to download that first before I could restart my computer. So fun and games. Just carry on, pretend you know.
Yeah.
Be
Well, welcome
professionals.
back. Welcome back.
That happened. That's not the first time that's happened. A couple of years ago, it happened, and my mate Jason, who hopped on the call for the first time, it suddenly went to him and made him the chair of the meeting. What did I miss?
Just join the story, and we've been putting the works to right. We've come up with an alternative theory of relativity that Einstein would be amazed at.
Just we forgot to write it down.
Oh no! Equals something else.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I've got to go, Phil. So
this week.
That's right. Great stuff tonight, Steve. Really good. Thank you for your sharing. That was good, wasn't it?
Thanks, Stephen.
Yeah, very
All right.
good. Here's Stephen.
Where are we up to then? Is it Roz?
I think so, yeah.
The wee green banner.
Okay.
What a phone. Sorry, I'm should have been digging this out while you were lost.
If only you had time to look things up, yeah.
I've got this one I did last month at the Poets Space of my own. Growing up, I wasted much of my time trying to get into a box that I didn't fit. I squashed and contorted myself until I'd forced my way in. I've spent a few uncomfortable years claiming it was mine. And finally, I became so bent and distorted that it did fit. Nowadays, I spend much of my time trying to climb out of it, hoping to repair the distortions and stand up straight, so I can finally recognise what the me-sized box looks like and be able to find where I belong. Because I don't want to end my days in the wrong size box. But lately, I've come to realise it's time to stop looking, just be free of all boxes, and simply occupy the space that is mine. And that was that. So, one of those things that popped into my head one morning. Nothing to do with anything that anybody's talking about. There you go.
No, I think that was really good.
Mm.
And you
Just woke up with it
do
in my head,
that.
and so I writ it down, which is half the time I forget to, but there you go.
And it happens, doesn't it? These boxes that we're
Yeah, you think people
we
want you to
conform
be
to.
like this, so you try and be like it, and it doesn't work, does it? Never mind. Never mind, I'll shut up now. We can carry on.
No, it's really good. I like the idea of the box because you're in it and you're confined and you're always like uncomfortable and like trying to create a better space. But at the same time, you're like when I was in some of the workplaces I worked in, there was particular ways you had to act and behave.
Yeah.
And there was no choice. If you stepped outside that box and behaved in a different way, then you were ostracized or, your career was tarnished or something like that.
Yeah,
so the pressure to actually conform and stay conformed was enormous. But it also came with an uncomfortableness because you knew it wasn't like naturally yourself.
That's right, yeah. You're trying to be, I find I've tried to be something because I think it's what people want me to be, and that's got nothing to do with anything, I've realised now. Nobody wants you to be anything.
That's wisdom. That's wisdom, Roz. That's wisdom.
It's going well.
It's always this professional.
So I have to leave in 10 minutes or 9 minutes.
Yeah,
anyway,
well, it's all right.
But I couldn't have left without saying goodbye, rather than just the guillotine.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sort of the same myself, John, because my sound's breaking up every so often. So it's I don't know whether it's me or the computer or whether it's my hearing aid, but anyway, we'll see.
Yeah. It's somebody was saying that there'd been a lot of solar flare activities and when there was the northern lights and things, but that seems to interfere with the internet a bit sometimes as well. So maybe that's what's going on.
Maybe it's something in the weather, a bit like you getting cut. I think it's Kung Fu Penguin, Phil.
Do you know what? It's the government hacking my computer because they don't want him to have his adventures. That's what it is.
We need to think out one of these. What do you call them? Mnemonic things. Where for computer problems, something like Phil post Hellenic interference,
post humanity intelligence, and I don't have an L.
Like logistics,
because we don't get that far.
No, you can't have intelligence in there.
Sorry.
I think it's prehistoric internet logistics.
Oh,
very good.
All right, then.
See why you're lecturing to Phil.
All right, hello, we're all back. Sorry about that. We're having a really smooth evening on the old technical front tonight. So, I think we've got George, and then we could have one quick spin round in the last 7 minutes if we wish. George, what have you got for us?
I may be terrible and have to do this and this, but we'll see. I'll hang on as long as the computer seems to be holding up. This was actually, I have a really close friend I hadn't seen for quite a while, and I suddenly got a phone call, which I thought was him, answer the phone, the person's name comes up, and then the person said, "Oh, this isn't Tom. This is Thomas's son." So as soon as someone says that, you know what the problem is, or you guess. And then I thought I'd known them so well, and they've known me as a poet. They've supported me in various things for a long time, and I thought I can't just buy a normal. So I bought a blank card, and I thought I then need to write a poem, which is one of these things, and you think, God, what have I said myself? So this is for Tom and Barbara. Tom died, Barbara's his wife. For Tom and Barbara. Life changes with the death of a friend, a tear in your past, a void in your future. Shared memories bring comfort and hurt. For while they mean so much, some joy has been taken from those times. Memories of work and play, or merely passing on this road. Images in your head now dusted, taken from the libraries to replay. They help soothe the ache as you smile, grieve again, as other tapes crowd your screen. See how much he added to all of these. You murmur, mist, curse the fates, then think on his smile, his strength, shout, how blessed to have shared.
That's very moving, George, and I'm sorry for your loss.
It is.
Well, wow. Have you sent it? Did you send it to Barbara?
Yeah, I hesitated and I thought I'll show it to others before I go. And then I realised that I couldn't really. I wrote this the day after, and I thought I better go and just go now. So I just stuck it in the. I cut it out. I printed it in vellum. I printed it in italics. Stuck it in a card as though it was a card verse. Took it and just took it straight out because I thought this isn't a thing I can stick in the post. I knew them too well, friends. They were friends with Margaret. They helped me quite a lot when Margaret died. I thought I can't just stick it in the post, so I went over to see her, and I'm glad I did. And I ended up going in thinking that I might be able to catch it when it was quiet, but when I got there, the house was full of her family. But I thought I can't just go. So it seemed to be accepted by them all right. And when I've read it to other people, it's trying to write something which is meaningful and not schmaltzy or kind of twee or something kind of realistic. So I just tried to be honest in it, and I think it worked. I hope it worked.
It did well.
Yeah,
It definitely worked.
really,
I also think when you go to things and you hear after the event that this person was angelic and perfect.
Oh.
It's like, no, you mustn't have known them. No. So I much prefer, the idea that we're all imperfect. And that's probably what makes us different, makes us more who we are. So better to celebrate that than to pretend that all of a sudden we were angelic.
Yeah.
Yeah, well said.
When people say, so Janet and I have been married now for 46 years. And, people will say, 46 years and never a crossword. You must be joking. Are you joking? You may as well say never a day without a crossword.
Careful, John, this is being recorded.
Yeah. Well, Janet knows me. It's okay. We always make up. We always make up afterwards. And we're deeply in love, so it's no problem.
But never a crossword suggests that one of you has become a cipher, because you can't have two people who are living life and don't ever disagree about anything. I mean, I don't think it's possible. Even the best of friends, husband and wife, parents and children. I mean, God. You know that parents love you and you love their parents, but that doesn't stop you going off your head with them from time to time.
We still don't agree what to have for breakfast. Never mind, So.
Well, it's been a great night. I think I might better read one poem from this, and then we'll wrap things up. Is that okay? It's been a really good night.
Enjoyed your little book, Phil.
Say again?
I enjoyed your little book.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah, I did.
Thank you. That's a ringing endorsement. Thank you very much. I'll read the title poem. They say I am a poet, a writer who writes with pictures, an artist who paints with words, a legacy noted down in scriptures. Blurring lines of reality and creation, this ordinary daydream believer taps into another world of imagination. We're each our own dream weaver. Listen for the whispers. Can we hear our inner song? We reach a mental block occasionally before inspiration comes along. Scribble down perspectives. We spin ourselves a yarn or two. Poetry is the straightest way to starvation, but telling stories is what we do. To think is to create, is to write. That's where creativity lies. They say I am a poet, but I didn't realize. Here you are. Thank you very much. Well, thank you all for tuning in tonight. There's been some really great poems and bits and pieces.
Thank you, Phil.
And chat as well.
And it is, sorry, just before you put the book down, it's a brilliant thing. And it's very good value, Phil.
Only a £5.
So I hope this is still being recorded.
Yes, it is.
Not just high quality, but really good value.
Thank you very much.
Available in all good
available from me. Yes. I'm sorry there was a few technical problems this evening, but it's all been good fun. So thank you very much. You take care. Thank you all, and we'll do it again soon. Yeah. All right. Take care.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
See you next time. Cheers, guys. Take care. Bye.
Bye.